August 31st, South Carolina Virginia Tech kicks off in Atlanta. By the way, guys, that is also National South Carolina Day. Did you know that? Either one of you know that? That's got to be a good omen for the Gamecocks. It's got to be a good omen for the Gamecocks.
I didn't even know
You
that was a thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It has been for 8 years. You know what else is a good omen for the Gamecocks? The SEC's record in this ball game. John Whittle, you can put this in your next column if you'd like. No credit needed. It's on the internet. 17-2 in the Aflac kickoff games in Atlanta. A little bit of pressure there. But I was reading on All Things. It's a wonderful column. It's won a bunch of awards in its 3-month history. John, you rightfully pointed out Shane Beamer kind of likes to play that undercard role, underdog role type card. And they're 13th in the AP, they're 13th in the coaches. But John, I'll let you take it from there. There's also a lot of people who don't have a lot of faith in the Gamecocks. They like Sellers, they like Stewart, they like Shane. They don't like the Gamecocks to be maybe what that preseason ranking says that they are.
Yeah, and it's a little odd to me, to be honest. And sure, there are folks out there who like South Carolina a lot. I didn't expect there to be this many folks who don't like the Gamecocks. It was a surprise to me to see, a couple of college football's biggest names like not even include South Carolina in their top 25. Reese Davis, for example, like that one took me off guard. Brett McMurphy leaving South Carolina out altogether took me off guard. CBS Sports, Chris Hummer,
Phil Steele,
has South Carolina tumbling off and losing a bunch of games this year. Phil Steele, I was just taken aback by that a little bit. And sure, I mean, there's certainly a path to losing, a half a dozen football games this year. You got half your schedule ranked in the top 25, so half your schedule is pretty good. That's not including Vandy, who some folks love, and Missouri, who was 28th, I guess, or right around there in the AP poll preseason. So I mean, there's a path to losing a bunch of games, but I wasn't expecting it. I don't think Shane was expecting it, because Shane's been talking about since the spring how he thought that they would get a lot of love in the preseason, and that they would have to kind of work on being sure that not expectations kept in check, that the players mindset is kept straightforward and kept these guys even keeled and focused and that kind of thing, not having to read their headlines. If Shane wants to play that underdog card, he certainly can.
It's fallen into his hands. There's no doubt about that. I will say this, Mike, you and I have discussed this time and time and time again. Quite frankly, nobody knows anything about college football anymore. It is much more difficult than it's ever been to try to determine, predict anything about anybody in this sport. John, we cover this team on a day-to-day basis. You have incredible sources in that program. We've all got amazing sources at South Carolina. It has been very difficult for us to peel information out of there. Very difficult. You know that. If it's hard for all of us to do it, how the hell are all these guys going to do it? So I do have some understanding as to why many of them go, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that they've replaced all of that. But again, this plays perfectly to Shane Beamer and being able to take that information, that message, give it to his team. Do they need extra motivation? Probably not, but a little bit extra never hurts.
Yeah, and a little bit further down that column, I pointed out how Dave Bartu, I think that's how you say it, of College Football Matrix, one of those data sites that has all those math number things that they come up with that I couldn't possibly do on my own. They have a column called Coach Effect, and which basically they've taken all of this data and all of these things about each roster, and if you win a game against a team you're supposed to lose by a certain amount, then you get a positive coach effect, right? So you get like +1 on your is a head coach, and your coach effect numbers. And Shane is one of 5 coaches in Power 4 football who have a positive coach effect over each of the last 3 seasons. He's got the second highest coach effect on in road games in the Power 4. So, Shane Beamer is doing something right. Now, you could sit here and say, if you wanted to, like, get better talent, so you're not the underdog so often, that'd be fine. But you can also have a negative coach effect. You lose games you're not supposed to lose too. And, I think that we lose sight of that sometimes. It's great to pull upsets. It's also very nice to not be upset. So that's a nice thing as well. I'm with you. I think it is extremely hard to measure. I write the Lindy's magazine preseason previews columns and what have you, and they want you to put out the 2 deep, and that stuff's due kind of the end of June. I mean, we don't even know who all is going to be on the roster. I've got Rasul Faison, in there. I mean, do we even know if he's going to be playing? No. So it's become increasingly more difficult every year to do things like that, and I respect that folks have a national. Have to have a national perspective and keep their finger on the pulse of everything a little bit, but I was just surprised a little bit by it.
It is it's interesting. They will, though. Mike, you mentioned this just at the top of the show, and the fact that this, we were talking about this game. It was signed August 11th, 2020 to play this ball game, Carolina's first trip to Atlanta. But it falls at 3:00 on that Sunday afternoon. It's the only game on in college football. There's only 2 games that day. It is the only game. I have a
question. I'm going to interrupt you. I have a question. Okay. The next day is Labor Day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are y'all going to be talking about the game?
Are we really doing this again? Well, I'll be flying
John,
back.
I get outvoted on this every year, just so you know.
I'll be flying back. I don't know what the Wi-Fi is like on Delta. If anybody can fill me in.
You're flying to Atlanta?
Dude, well, he's coming from Charleston.
It's a 2-hour, $200 round trip ticket as opposed to dealing with 26 and I-20. Nah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. That answers my question. All right. Proceed on to your question to Mike. I apologize.
Yeah, now that you just threw us under the bus, is this a short bus or a long bus? Like, what type of bus?
Whittle, I'll do a show with you Monday. How about that?
Okay, that sounds great.
All things Whittle and Morgs for one day.
Yeah, there we go. And I didn't throw you under a bus because you're flying on a plane, so I could throw you under a bus. You wouldn't be on it.
Wouldn't feel a thing. Yeah. That's fine. If y'all want to pick up the 4th of July and Memorial Day and Thanksgiving while you're at it.
Let's not get crazy. But,
well, I mean, I'm just saying.
But the Monday after the first game.
We follow the national holiday calendar around here, okay? You're lucky that we're working on Martin Luther King Day and some others that are recognized by the rest of the nation. Okay.
All right.
I don't even know what I was talking about. What was I talking about? I don't know. That's how good I am at this thing. Oh, it airs at 3:00 on Sunday. So they're all going to get a chance to see the Gamecocks. Everybody, I mean, if you're paying attention and you're a voter or you're one of these national people, you don't have anything else to watch. There's no NFL. There's nothing. It's 3:00. It's Virginia Tech, and it's South Carolina. It's been a hell of a summer from a media standpoint. In spirit, the program that was out on SEC Network. Now the Netflix documentary. Now their first game. The whole country gets to watch them play.
Yeah.
Is there an impact? What type of rollover impact are we going to get from this thing? They got to win, obviously. But
well, let me first say this in terms of all the people that don't have Carolina in the top 25. The only ones that really matter for now, and they really don't even matter that much, are the polls, the AP and the coaches. And Carolina got plenty of love in both, top 15. Right. So it's not as if this team is just being completely shut down or shut out by the media in terms of love and everything else. You got the preseason SEC poll is 5th. Honestly, I didn't think it'd be that high. I talked about Sellers could not be getting more love nationally, from everything from betting odds to win the Heisman to preseason media lists and hype there. So it's not as if you can't play there. We're not getting any respect card this year. So a lot of years you might be able to pull that off, but not this year. I mean, there's plenty of love going Carolina's way this season, and the people that have a vote, if you take care of business against Virginia Tech, the votes are going to be very much in your favor. You know, if you don't cover the spread, you're not going to fall 3 spots. So if you just win the game, I think the love and appreciation, and really it's a platform game for Lenora Sellers. So there's a lot of people didn't even know who he was until the Clemson game, and that game was buried in the middle of rivalry week, and so they were catching up on SportsCenter highlights. It's like, damn, look at this guy. They're going to be watching specifically for him. If they have no other interest in this game, that's who they're looking at. So it's a major platform for him in week 1. If you're ever going to be in consideration for the Heisman Trophy, games like this really do matter because, as you pointed out, Jamie, it's unopposed. Mm-hmm. It's very rare you get an unopposed window on the college football calendar. You've got it.
John?
Yeah, I'm with you. At the same time, coaches like to manufacture.
Sure.
Yeah. I remember a couple years ago, Kirby Smart
saying, "Oh my goodness!"
Like he even went so far as to make up that thing about Tonka Hemingway saying how Tonka disrespected Sanford Stadium. Like,
right.
All I'm saying is you don't have to look too far if you wanted to try to create a narrative within your team. It's pretty easy to find. You don't have to manufacture it,
right?
But I'm with you, especially when it comes to that SEC preseason ranking. I was really surprised to see them at 5th by the media, and I guess did the league's coaches put one out? Were they 5th by the league coaches too? Either way, fifth is really took me off guard a little bit.
Do you think, John, that there will be any more neutral site games entertained or scheduled by South Carolina down the road? I mean, they don't have any at all right now.
Yeah, I do. Especially if the money is worthwhile. I mean, or if the money's worthwhile, they'll absolutely do it, because you're always looking for ways to bring in more revenue, and that's why it started. I think maybe we've seen a pause on that, maybe because of the 8 or 9 game schedule. I don't know. I'm a little bit surprised there isn't one scheduled right now, but you get a lot of money for doing these things. I mean, that's why they do it in baseball. South Carolina plays that game at Segra because it pays for an extra charter flight for the baseball team to go somewhere. That's a big deal. And I think the money's only going up and you need it more and more. And, if South Carolina switches from Under Armour to Nike, there's going to be a big dollar figure that's left on the table. So, you're going to be looking to figure out ways to make up that money somehow. It wouldn't surprise me a bit to see some more neutral site games scheduled.
Brought up an interesting point there, and you and I had exchanged some texts about this the other day. The only way that anything is going on, in my understanding, there's a little bit of smoke. Maybe we might not have a fire yet. There's a little bit of smoke with the future of apparel contracts at South Carolina. Could they back up with Under Armour? Yes. Could they end up with somebody else? Yes. Have you heard anything else on that in the last few days?
Nothing that I'm real comfortable in putting out there just yet. It's been a minute since I wrote this. I mean, this was back even before Ray Tanner announced his retirement, but I've felt like South Carolina is more open to switching apparel providers now than at any other point. And they do feel like this stadium renovation, which That's another big topic. That the stadium renovation is going to bring in a significant amount of additional revenue, and if you have a significant amount of additional revenue, then you may be able to do some things that don't. That you may be able to make some changes like that, like changing from an Under Armour to a Nike, which it doesn't matter who you are. They pay you pretty close to the same amount. The contracts are very similar for every school, and folks are like Dawn Staley. Yeah, I get it, and she will be very beneficial in South Carolina's negotiating of an apparel contract, especially with Nike. But she's not going to bring in some kind of astronomical amount of money that's way different from any other Nike school. They feel like their brand is worth it, and they probably should. So you're just leaving money on the table if you do that. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. You know, it might be best for this program to be with Nike, but you know, you're just making a decision between the swoosh and the dollar, and yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that and we don't even have enough time, but everybody here will nod their head in agreement. There's a lot more in apparel contracts now than there was at one point in time. You've got NIL deals that could be on the table for this type of stuff as well, with specific athletes and specific brands. I wonder, we were talking about neutral site games, Mike, John, you almost wonder if Nike has ever entertained that. Like, why don't we have a neutral site game or two to open the season every year that is exclusive for teams that are in our attire?
They've done that in hoops.
They do it in basketball.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Is it there in football? I bet it is. But how do you do it?
They could. I mean, they could make everybody go to Eugene, Oregon, and play a kickoff classic because the money would be there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's how they got a bunch of basketball teams to play in the PK80, the Phil Knight deal.
Oh,
which
yeah.
was a bunch of Nike schools went all the way to Vegas to play a preseason tournament, and it was a big deal. I mean, they got everybody and anybody.
Mm-hmm.
The field was ridiculously good because money talks.
Money does talk. That's why John's here. You know, pay him a bunch.
Pay that man his money.
That's right.
Well, Under Armour did that with Gamecock basketball playing up in Madison Square Garden.
That's right.
Against is it Seton Hall, maybe?
I think it was.
I don't even remember. I'm not sure who it was. I remember going up there for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat in. Auburn was up there as well, and I mean, part of the deal for me going was to provide some content for Auburn as well. And I just remember sitting there waiting on Bruce Pearl for forever after that game. So I missed tip-off, I think, of the Carolina game, if I remember correctly. Anyway, regardless, I'm with you. Maybe you see something like that in the future with football too.
It's all changing. There's no doubt. John, next week we get to talk about the football game. You know, the thing where they kick off the tee, guy catches it, runs it back, you throw, you hit, you hand it off. Football game. So I'm excited for that. But because you tried to throw me under the bus, I want to ask you a question.
Okay, let's do it.
On Saturday,
in the comments over here talking about how electric the Whittle and Morgan show is.
y'all we'll show you the ropes and how you produce. There you go. I'll tune in from the Delta Wi-Fi on Monday. On Saturday, they'll play in Dublin, Ireland. Mike and I have talked before about, you know, why do you play this game? We're not getting into all that. But you said you're flying, and I know why you said that, because you're a driver, John. You don't like to fly if you can avoid it. What if Carolina played overseas? Would you take a boat? Like, would you cruise over there?
I'm flying to Texas A&M this year.
Oh, okay.
Hale is going to Missouri. I'm not making that Missouri trip. I would fly to Missouri. Now I am driving to Baton Rouge. I know that's
wow
too far for most people.
Wow,
and I understand that, but I never drive down there. Like I never drive.
You never will again after that.
Auburn. So it's all new scenery.
When the baseball team did that, John, you know what they did? They took 2 sleeper buses, and I missed the trip because I was in New York doing the NIT Final Four, and Tommy Moody told me, in addition to the however many hours, 18, I don't know, Then they hit like a train right before they got to Columbia or in Columbia. Then they hit some other thing. It was like the longest trip of his life or Ray's life or anybody's life at that point in those two buses. And by the time they got there, Ray said, "We will never do this again." They have never taken the sleeper buses back to LSU. That's a flight every time. But hey, man, much respect, because it's just you, right? No companions on the road.
Well, the Big Spur crew will be with me.
Who's that?
The Big Spur crew will be with me.
Oh, so you've got people that can split the driving then?
I'll probably handle it, but yeah, in theory. And it's not 18 hours unless
wasn't. Again,
in the bus
and two buses with different accidents or whatever else, traffic. I don't know why it took that long, but it was literally the longest drive ever for any Gamecock road trip.
They decided to drive up through Nashville to get down to Baton Rouge.
I don't know.
They wanted to hit a honky tonk or something.
Well, that's very possible. That's very possible. I just know that's one trip I'm glad I missed. And I love going to LSU for baseball, but holy smokes, that's a nightmare. That's an absolute nightmare. Sleeper buses sound like really comfortable and cozy. Like, this is how country music. I bet Morgan Wallace travels like, no. These are sleeper buses where you got like 20 people in each one, and they're not that comfortable. Trust me.
No, that's not what you want. We'll make sure we get you in earlier that week, John, so you can get on the road. All right. We'll let you go. I would encourage everybody to read on all
driving, not walking.
I don't know. You might end up walking about halfway through that thing, depending on who's in the car with you.
How long do you think it's going to take, John? What is your ETA on that?
Well, I've driven it a couple of times.
Happen when you don't do that.
We'll preview that. We'll preview that LSU week. I'll give y'all a whole breakdown of everything.
Oh hell yeah! I want updates on the road. Like we can do a graphic.
Yeah,
put a little image of a car and John on the highway.
Yeah, there we go.
Last time we had an update from John on the road. He was outside of some small town in Ohio, sitting next to a dumpster.
Oh, that's right.
Maybe as glamorous as everybody thinks it is.
Landfill. Not even a dumpster, a landfill.
Let's see.
Then we had the seagulls chirping in the background, picking through the trash as John gives his updates.
Exactly.
That's right.
I don't know if we talked about anything today in this half an hour I was on. I apologize.
No, nothing. No,
sometimes
we're all over the map.
Just gotta have fun. Well, we did. All right, John, we'll let you run. We got DeMarco standing by. He's much like you, very angry when we're late. So we gotta get there. But we'll see you next week. I think next Wednesday we're gonna move John around a little bit. I think next Wednesday is when John will be back, and we'll talk Virginia Tech, South Carolina. Thanks, bud.